Conor Anthony McGregor, born the 14th of July 1988, is an Irish mixed martial artist, boxer, and businessman. He is a former Ultimate Fighting Championship featherweight and lightweight double champion. As of the 19th of July 2021, he is number 9 in the UFC lightweight rankings. McGregor is a former Cage Warriors featherweight and lightweight champion. In 2015, at UFC 194, he defeated José Aldo for the UFC Featherweight Championship via knockout 13 seconds into the first round, which is the fastest victory in UFC title fight history. Upon defeating Eddie Alvarez for the UFC Lightweight Championship at UFC 205, McGregor became the first fighter in UFC history to hold titles in two weight divisions simultaneously. In his debut professional boxing match, he was defeated by Floyd Mayweather Jr. He is the biggest pay-per-view draw in MMA history, having headlined 5 out of the 6 highest-selling UFC pay-per-view events. His headline bout with Khabib Nurmagomedov at UFC 229 drew 2.4 million PPV buys, the most ever for an MMA event. His boxing match with Mayweather drew 4.3 million PPV buys in North America, the second most in history. McGregor was ranked as the world's highest-paid athlete by Forbes in 2021, earning a reported $180 million. He also featured in the list in 2018, when he was ranked 4th, with a reported income of $99 million. Early life. Conor Anthony McGregor was born in Crumlin, Dublin on the 14th of July 1988, the son of Tony and Margaret McGregor. He was raised in Crumlin, and attended Irish language schools, the Gaelscoil Scoil Maloga, in Harold's Cross, at primary level, and Gaelchelaist Colaist de Hyde in Tallaght at secondary level, where he also developed his passion for sport, playing football. In his youth, he played football for Lord's Celtic Football Club. At the age of 12, he also began boxing at Crumlin Boxing Club, as a way to defend himself against bullies and raise his confidence. In 2006, McGregor moved with his family to Lucan, Dublin, attending Gaelchelaist Colaist Qua Life. Following that, he commenced a plumbing apprenticeship. While in Lucan, he met future UFC fighter Tom Egan and they soon started training mixed martial arts together. Amateur mixed martial arts career. On the 17th of February 2007, at the age of 18, McGregor made his mixed martial arts debut in an amateur fight against Kieran Campbell for the Irish Ring of Truth promotion in Dublin. He won via technical knockout in the first round. Following the fight, he turned professional and was signed by the Irish Cage of Truth promotion. In 2008, McGregor began training at the Straight Blast Gym in Dublin under John Kavanagh. Professional mixed martial arts career. Early career, 2008 to 2013. On the 9th of March 2008, McGregor had his first professional MMA bout, as a lightweight, defeating Gary Morris with a second-round TKO. After McGregor won his second fight against Mo Taylor, he made his featherweight debut in a loss via kneebar against submission specialist Artemij Sitankov. After a victory at featherweight in his next bout against Stephen Bailey, McGregor contemplated a different career path before his mother contacted his coach John Kavanagh and reinvigorated him to continue pursuing mixed martial arts. McGregor then won his next fight, also at featherweight, against Conor Dillon, before moving back to lightweight for a fight against Joseph Duffy, in which he received his second professional loss after submitting to an arm triangle choke. Following this, during 2011 and 2012, McGregor went on an 8-fight winning streak, during which he won both the CWFC Featherweight and Lightweight Championships, making him the first European professional mixed martial artist to hold titles in two divisions simultaneously. In February 2013, UFC President Dana White made a trip to Dublin, Ireland to receive a gold medal of honorary patronage from Trinity College and was inundated with requests to sign McGregor to the UFC. After a meeting with McGregor, and talking with UFC CEO Lorenzo Fertitta, White offered him a contract days later. Ultimate Fighting Championship, 2013-present. 2013. In February 2013, the Ultimate Fighting Championship announced that they had signed McGregor to a multi-fight contract. In joining, he became only the second fighter from Ireland to compete for the company, following team member Tom Egan. On the 6th of April 2013, McGregor made his UFC debut against Marcus Brimage at UFC on Fuel TV, Mousasi vs. Latifi. He won the fight by knockout in round 1. The win also earned McGregor his first Knockout of the Night award. McGregor was expected to face Andy Ogle on the 17th of August 2013 at UFC Fight Night 26, but Ogle pulled out of the bout citing an injury and was replaced by eventual UFC Featherweight champion Max Holloway. McGregor won the fight by unanimous decision, 30-27, 30-27, and 30-26. Following the bout with Holloway, an MRI scan revealed that McGregor had torn his anterior cruciate ligament during the bout and would require surgery, keeping him out of action for up to 10 months. 2014 McGregor was expected to face Cole Miller on the 19th of July 2014 at UFC Fight Night 46 in his comeback bout after recovering from his ACL injury. However, Miller pulled out of the bout citing a thumb injury and was replaced by Diego Brando. McGregor fought Brando in front of a loud, rowdy crowd of 9,500 at the O2 in his hometown of Dublin, Ireland. The fight was officially halted by referee Leon Roberts at 4:05 of the first round. The win earned McGregor his first Performance of the Night award. Prior to his next bout, McGregor met with Lorenzo Fertitta and signed a new multi-fight contract with the UFC. McGregor next faced Dustin Poirier on the 27th of September 2014 at UFC 178. Despite McGregor landing 9 significant strikes to Poirier's 10, he managed to secure a victory early on in the first round, by pressuring Poirier onto his back foot, before exploding with a left hook behind Poirier's ear, forcing referee Herb Dean to step in. The finish officially came at 1:46 into the first round. This marked Poirier's first UFC loss via TKO, and earned McGregor his second straight Performance of the Night award. 2015 Championship pursuits. McGregor faced Dennis Siver on the 18th of January 2015 at UFC Fight Night 59. He won the fight via TKO in the second round. The victory also earned McGregor his third straight Performance of the Night award. Interim Featherweight Championship bout. The highly anticipated bout with Aldo was announced on the 30th of January 2015, at the UFC 183 Q&A. McGregor declared that he was expected to face Aldo on the 11th of July 2015 at UFC 189 for the undisputed UFC Featherweight Championship, during the UFC's annual International Fight Week. The fight took place at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. The UFC, confident that the fight would exceed expectations, increased the promotional budget for the event, with company Dana White stating that the UFC spent more money promoting Aldo McGregor than any fight in UFC history. The fight against Aldo was announced on the 30th of January 2015, at the UFC 183, and both McGregor and Aldo embarked on a 12-day world tour, during which 8 cities in 5 countries were visited, including Aldo's home country of Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, and McGregor's hometown of Dublin. The tour began in Rio de Janeiro on the 20th of March, and completed in Dublin on the 31st of March. However, on the 23rd of June, it was reported that Aldo had suffered a rib fracture and had pulled out of the bout as a consequence. McGregor remained on the card and was rescheduled to face Chad Mendes for the Interim Featherweight Championship. The official attendance for the event, 16,019, broke the record in Nevada, while the gate of $7,200,000 broke the record for a mixed martial arts event in the United States. Prior to the fight, McGregor's entrance song, The Foggy Dew, was sung live by Irish singer-songwriter Sinead O'Connor. McGregor won the fight via TKO, winning the UFC Interim Featherweight Championship. McGregor then took part in UFC's The Ultimate Fighter, in which he coached against Uriah Faber. Faber's team member Ryan Hall ended up winning the competition. Featherweight Championship Unification Bout. On the 10th of August, it was announced that the event would take place on the 12th of December, and McGregor would face José Aldo for the UFC Featherweight Championship. At the weigh-ins, both McGregor and Aldo achieved the weight limit of 145 pounds. McGregor knocked out Aldo 13 seconds into the first round with a left hook, snapping his 7-year-long WEC and UFC title reign and 18-fight win streak to claim the title, earning the Performance of the Night bonus as well. This finish marked the fastest knockout in a title bout in UFC history. 2016 first UFC loss. After emphatically dispatching Aldo, McGregor continued to express a desire to move up to the lightweight division and attempt to become the first UFC dual-weight champion. On the 12th of January 2016, the UFC announced that Conor McGregor would face Rafael dos Anjos for the UFC Lightweight Championship on the 5th of March at UFC 196, then known as UFC 197. The event would be held at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, in McGregor's third consecutive headlining appearance at the venue. On the 23rd of February, it was announced that Dos Anjos had withdrawn from the fight after breaking his foot. A variety of competitors at different weight classes were asked to step in on short notice to face McGregor, including José Aldo, who refused the bout due to a lack of time to prepare for it, and former UFC Lightweight Champion and Featherweight Frankie Edgar, who turned the fight down due to a groin injury. Instead, the Ultimate Fighter Season 5 winner, and former UFC Lightweight Championship challenger Nate Diaz stepped in to fight McGregor on 13 days' notice. Initially assumed to be a lightweight contest, McGregor allowed the bout to be contested at 170 pounds, in the welterweight division, to avoid forcing Diaz to cut down to the 155-pound lightweight limit in such little time. On the 24th of February 2016, a press conference was held to help promote the new main event, with both men trading insults. At the Thursday pre-fight press conference on the 3rd of March, McGregor and Diaz engaged in a brief scuffle during a face-off, after McGregor landed a strike on Diaz's lead hand. The UFC 196 event, while failing to exceed the gate and attendance records of McGregor's previous bout, provided respectable numbers, with an attendance of 14,898 and a total gate of $8.1 million. More significantly, the event procured a PPV buy rate of 1,317,000 buys, surpassing McGregor's own personal record of 1,200,000 for UFC 194. The fight began with McGregor shifting stances frequently, before looking to establish his signature left cross. After a McGregor combination in the first round, Diaz returned fire with 2 consecutive hooks, one a slap, a signature of Nate and his brother, Nick Diaz, termed the Stockton slap. McGregor avoided Diaz's jabs by slipping to his right, often before throwing his left overhand. The second round commenced with Diaz using his check right hook, attempting to keep the aggressive McGregor at distance. McGregor had success with his bodywork, but Diaz began to land combinations of his own. After a stiff 1-2 from Diaz, McGregor seemed fatigued and troubled by the shots. He attempted a double leg takedown, which Diaz successfully defended by sprawling. Diaz then threatened the guillotine choke, which forced McGregor onto his back after stopping McGregor from scrambling out of the position as he had during the bout with Chad Mendes at UFC 189. Diaz secured the mount, before firing off a volley of strikes from the top. In an effort to avoid the assault, McGregor gave up his back, and Diaz secured a rear naked choke. McGregor tapped to the submission at 4:12 into the second round, causing referee Herb Dean to intervene and stop the bout. Both competitors were awarded Fight of the Night bonuses, and McGregor received the highest disclosed purse of any fighter in the history of the company to that point, at $1 million. McGregor was critical of his own performance while praising Diaz, saying, "I was inefficient with my energy. It was a battle of energy and he got the better of that." Rematch with Nate Diaz. A rematch with Diaz was scheduled for the 9th of July at UFC 200. However, on the 19th of April, the UFC announced that McGregor had been pulled from the event after failing to fulfill media obligations related to the fight. In turn, the fight with McGregor was rescheduled and took place the following month, contested again at welterweight, at UFC 202. McGregor won the rematch via majority decision, 48-47, 47-47, and 48-47. The bout was once again awarded Fight of the Night honors. The event broke the record previously held by UFC 100 for the highest-selling pay-per-view in UFC history, with 1,650,000 buys. 2-division champion. On the 27th of September, it was officially announced that McGregor's next bout would be against Eddie Alvarez for the UFC Lightweight Championship on the 12th of November at UFC 205. After dropping Alvarez multiple times throughout the first round, McGregor landed a multiple punch combination to stop his opponent via technical knockout in the second round. This result marked the first time a competitor had held UFC championships in 2 different weight classes, and also repeated McGregor's feat during his career at Cage Warriors. This win earned him the Performance of the Night, and it is widely considered one of McGregor's best performances inside the octagon. Stripping of Featherweight Championship. On the 26th of November, due to his inactivity in the division, it was initially announced that McGregor had vacated the Featherweight Championship, therefore promoting José Aldo to undisputed champion. McGregor's coach, however, confirmed further reports which stated that McGregor had actually been stripped of the title. 2017. After winning the Lightweight Championship at UFC 205, McGregor announced he would take time off from the UFC to wait for the birth of his first child due in 2017. McGregor spent the majority of his public appearances in early 2017 campaigning for a boxing match with Floyd Mayweather Jr. After months of negotiations, the two finally came to terms on the 14th of June 2017 and announced the match to take place on the 26th of August. The match ultimately ended in the 10th round with a victory by TKO for Mayweather. 2018. After the conclusion of UFC 223 on the 7th of April, McGregor was stripped of the UFC Lightweight Championship due to inactivity, and Khabib Nurmagomedov was crowned the undisputed champion after defeating Al Iaquinta at the event. On the 3rd of August, it was announced that McGregor would return to the octagon at UFC 229 to challenge the undefeated Khabib Nurmagomedov for the UFC Lightweight Championship on the 6th of October. This bout was considered one of the biggest contests in the history of the sport, and it was filled with pre-fight hype. Nurmagomedov submitted McGregor with a neck crank in the 4th round. 2019. On the 26th of March 2019, McGregor announced his retirement on social media. However, Dana White viewed this announcement as a ploy to secure an ownership stake in the company, with White later suggesting his retirement would not last and that he had been in regular contact with him and stated he would fight again in the future. McGregor had previously tweeted that he wanted a rematch with Khabib Nurmagomedov and that he would see him in the octagon. 2020. After over a year away from the octagon, McGregor faced Donald Cerrone in a welterweight bout on the 18th of January 2020 at UFC 246. He won the fight via technical knockout 40 seconds into the first round. This win earned him a Performance of the Night award. The win made McGregor the first UFC fighter to hold knockout finishes in the featherweight, lightweight, and welterweight divisions. On the 6th of June 2020, McGregor announced once more that he was retiring from fighting. 2021. Despite talks of retirement, McGregor was booked to face former UFC Lightweight Championship challenger Dustin Poirier in a rematch of their 2014 bout at UFC 257 on the 24th of January 2021. He lost the fight via technical knockout in the second round, marking the first knockout loss in his career. McGregor was later handed a 6-month medical suspension after the knockout. McGregor faced Dustin Poirier for a third time on the 10th of July 2021 at UFC 264. McGregor lost the fight via technical knockout in round 1 after the ringside doctor stopped the bout due to McGregor breaking his tibia, rendering him unable to continue. Mixed martial arts fighting style. McGregor is known mostly as a striker and prefers to fight standing up, as opposed to on the ground. McGregor is left-handed and primarily fights out of the southpaw stance, but often switches to an orthodox stance. He will frequently try to be the aggressor in his bouts. McGregor's boxing is typically considered his best skill, with the majority of his victories coming by way of knockout or technical knockout via punches. Many pundits cite McGregor's pullback left-handed counter as his most dangerous strike. McGregor repeatedly engages in trash talk and psychological warfare against his opponents, which has led to comparisons with Muhammad Ali, whom McGregor cites as one of his early inspirations. After Ali died in June 2016, McGregor opined that nobody will ever come close to Ali's greatness. McGregor has also cited Bruce Lee as an inspiration, and compared himself to Lee. During the build-up to his bout against Donald Cerrone in the rematch against Dustin Poirier, McGregor was respectful towards his opponents and refrained from trash-talking. However, McGregor heavily used trash talk in the build-up to his trilogy fight with Poirier. Professional boxing career. Background. When McGregor was 12 years old, he began boxing at Crumlin Boxing Club under two-time Olympian Phil Sutcliffe. It was here where he laid the foundations to his striking ability, training with fighters such as Dean Byrne and Jamie Kavanagh, both of whom went on to train at Wildcard Gym under Freddie Roach. Kavanagh recalls McGregor as a game kind of boxer. He was very game. He loved to fight, but he was also very strong. He could seriously bang. Early boxing inspirations for McGregor included American boxers Muhammad Ali and Roy Jones, as well as British boxers Prince, Nassim Hamd and Chris Eubank. McGregor would eventually become an All-Ireland champion at youth level, but his attention began to turn towards other martial arts when he was about 16. Despite this, and his family moving to West Dublin, McGregor continued boxing. He has regularly sparred at Celtic Warrior Gym, Blanchardstown, which has been home to boxers such as Gary O'Sullivan and Frank Buglioni. Head coach Packy Collins, brother of Steve, commented, "He comes down here and he can hold his own with world champions." He continued, "I won't name names, but the last time he was up here, a very good boxer of ours couldn't make head nor tail of what Conor was doing. He has what appears like a kind of chopping movement when he strikes, and he doesn't use a traditional stance, so this guy just couldn't time him at all." Fight against Floyd Mayweather Jr. On the 14th of June 2017, it was announced that McGregor would compete in his first professional boxing match against the undefeated Floyd Mayweather Jr. on the 26th of August 2017 at T-Mobile Arena in Paradise, Nevada. The bout was contested at super welterweight, 154 pounds, with 8 ounces gloves. The fight was expected to be the richest in boxing history. On the 24th of August 2017, it was announced that Mayweather and McGregor would compete for the WBC money belt. According to the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Mayweather would earn a guaranteed purse of $100 million and McGregor was guaranteed $30 million. In front of 14,623, far short of a sellout, Mayweather won via TKO in the 10th round. In the opening round, Mayweather started slowly. After the fight, he revealed it was part of the game plan to let McGregor punch himself out in the early rounds. McGregor won the first round on all 3 judges' scorecards. The same case could have been made for the opening 3 rounds. By the 4th round, Mayweather started to take control and landed with his right hands. For the next few rounds, Mayweather continued to land clean punches and win the rounds. In round 9, McGregor, although he did not look hurt, was visibly fatigued. 2 of the judges scored the round 10-8 to Mayweather. In round 10, Mayweather landed some hard shots that staggered McGregor across the ring and had him heavily slopped against the ropes. After a few unanswered punches, the referee waved the fight off. The time of the stoppage was 1 minute and 5 seconds of round 10. At the time of stoppage, the scorecards read 87-83, 89-82, and 89-81, all in favor of Mayweather. McGregor was praised by Dana White in the post-fight press conference for landing 111 punches of 430 thrown, 26%, on Mayweather, which was more than Manny Pacquiao landed in his fight against Mayweather, billed as the fight of the century, and more than any of Mayweather's previous 9 opponents. Mayweather was far more accurate, however, landing 170 of 320 punches thrown, 53%. Nevada State Athletic Commission announced the live gate for the event was $55,414,865.79 from 13,094 tickets sold. This was less than the Mayweather vs. Pacquiao fight, which grossed $72 million from a paid attendance of 16,219 in 2015, despite claims from Ellerbe and Mayweather that it did more than $80 million. Sky Sports announced the fight garnered over 1 million PPV buys in the UK and grossed in excess of £20 million, surpassing the record set in April 2017 when Anthony Joshua defeated Vladimir Klitschko in front of 90,000 at Wembley Stadium. This also meant the fight generated more buys in the UK than Mayweather Jr. vs. Pacquiao. On the 14th of December 2017, Showtime announced that the fight recorded the second highest buy rate in the United States and Canada at 4.3 million pay-per-view buys. Personal life. McGregor has 2 sisters named Erin and Aoife. He has been in a relationship with his fiancée, Dee Devlin, since 2008. They have 3 children, Conor Jr., Kroya and Ryan. McGregor often trains at the Mjolnir gym in Reykjavik, alongside fellow UFC fighter Gunnar Nelson. He has stated that he does not adhere to any pre-fight rituals or superstitions because he believes them to be a form of fear. McGregor is a Catholic. McGregor is a football fan and a supporter of both Celtic and Manchester United. Business ventures and endorsements. McGregor has endorsement deals with Beats by Dre, Monster Energy, Reebok and Bud Light. As of 2017, his endorsement deals rounded up to $7 million. In early 2018, McGregor signed a deal with Burger King. August McGregor. Just ahead of his fight with Mayweather, McGregor announced a fashion partnership with tailoring brand David August. The brand is named August McGregor and is aimed at providing modern men's suits to millennials. August had met McGregor about 3 years earlier, via Dana White. Proper No 12 Irish Whiskey. In September 2018, McGregor launched Proper No 12 Irish Whiskey in Ireland and the United States. The whiskey is named after the Crumlin neighborhood in Dublin 12, in which McGregor grew up. In late 2018, McGregor said that the brand had sold hundreds of thousands of bottles since the launch, and plans were to restock in the United States and Ireland in December 2018. McGregor confirmed the brand will extend distribution to the UK, Australia, New Zealand, Russia, and Canada in 2019. In 2021, it was reported that McGregor and his business partners sold their majority stake in the company to Proximo Spirits, who previously had a 49% stake, for a deal worth a reported $600 million. Controversies. Driving offenses. In November 2017, McGregor pleaded guilty to exceeding the speed limit in Rathcoole, County Dublin. He was fined €400. In November 2018, he pleaded guilty to speeding in Kill, County Kildare, and was fined €1,000 and disqualified from driving for 6 months. Incident at Bellator 187. On 10 November 2017, McGregor's SBG Ireland teammate Charlie Ward made his debut at Bellator 187 in Dublin against John Redmond. Ward knocked out Redmond in round 1, and McGregor jumped the cage. He was not a licensed cornerman, to celebrate Ward's win while the fight was not yet officially declared over. McGregor was separated by referee Mark Goddard, as Goddard needed to verify if the knockout was before the bell, and to ensure lockdown of the cage for medical staff to assess the health of the knocked out Redmond. McGregor charged towards Goddard. While he pushed and confronted Goddard in a wild melee, he also checked on the downed Redmond and knocked him down while he was trying to get up. McGregor did a lap around the cage after he exited the cage a few minutes later, then climbed and straddled the cage apron to continue the celebration of Ward's win. He was stopped by a commissioner and McGregor, agitated, slapped the commissioner's face. Redmond stated after the fight that Goddard intended to let the fight continue to round 2, but the Mohegan Sun Commission, which oversaw the event, elected to end the fight due to McGregor's behavior in the ring. A day after the incident, the head of the commission for Bellator 187, Mike Mazzulli, the president of both the Mohegan Tribe Department of Athletic Regulation and Association of Boxing Commissions, issued a statement, stating that McGregor's conduct jeopardized the health and safety of fighters who were in the cage during the Ireland event. In addition, Mr. McGregor assaulted referee Mark Goddard and a member of Bellator staff. Bus attack at UFC 223 Media Day. On 3 April 2018, Khabib Nurmagomedov and Artem Lobov had a minor altercation, in which Nurmagomedov cornered Lobov. Lobov is known to be close to McGregor, with whom Nurmagomedov has had altercations and trash talk exchanges. The two groups have a lengthy history of insults and confrontations. On 5 April 2018, during promotional appearances for UFC 223, McGregor and a group of about 20 others were led into the Barclays Center by credentialed members of his promotional team. They attempted to confront Nurmagomedov, who was on a bus leaving the arena with red corner fighters for UFC 223 on it, such as Rose Namajunas, Al Iaquinta, Karolina Kowalkiewicz, Ray Borg, and Michael Chiesa. McGregor ran up alongside the slowly moving bus and then ran past it to grab a metal equipment dolly, which he then threw at the bus's window, before trying to throw other objects in the vicinity. Chiesa and Borg were injured by the shattered glass and sent to hospital. They were soon removed from the card on the advice of the NYSAC and the UFC's medical team. Lobov was also pulled from his fight for his involvement in the dispute. Dana White said there was a warrant out for McGregor's arrest, and the NYPD said McGregor was a person of interest. White said McGregor had told him via text message, "This had to be done. You can imagine he's going to be sued beyond belief," White said, and denied suggestions that the violence was a publicity stunt intended to generate interest in the UFC. McGregor and others involved initially fled the Barclays Center after the incident, although he and a fellow accused turned themselves in that night. McGregor was charged with 3 counts of assault and 1 count of criminal mischief. He was further charged with menacing and reckless endangerment at his arraignment and released on $50,000 bail until 14 June 2018. Under the bail conditions negotiated by his then attorney, Jim Walden, and set by the judge, McGregor was allowed to travel without restriction. On 12 April 2018, McGregor hired lawyer Bruce Maffeo of Cousin O'Connor to represent him in this matter. McGregor pleaded no contest to a count of disorderly conduct and was ordered to perform 5 days of community service and attend anger management classes. On 12 September 2018, Chiesa announced a lawsuit against McGregor, saying that he experienced pain, suffering and a loss of enjoyment of life as a result of the attack. Incident at UFC 229. Following the fight at UFC 229 on 6 October 2018, Khabib Nurmagomedov jumped out of the cage and charged towards McGregor's training partner Dylan Donies. Soon afterwards, McGregor and Abubakar Nurmagomedov, Khabib's cousin, also attempted to exit the octagon, but a scuffle broke out after McGregor punched Abubakar, who then punched him back. Two of Nurmagomedov's cornermen retaliated. Emiragayev and Zubaira Tukugov, who was scheduled to fight on the 27th of October 2018 at UFC Fight Night, Volkan vs. Smith against Artem Lobov, the McGregor team member who was confronted by Nurmagomedov in April 2018. Nurmagomedov's payment for the fight was withheld by the Nevada State Athletic Commission as a result, pending an investigation into his actions. Nurmagomedov appeared at the post-fight interview and apologized to the NSAC, while also saying that, "You cannot talk about religion. You cannot talk about nation. Guys, you cannot talk about these things. This is very important to me." The NSAC filed a formal complaint against both McGregor and Nurmagomedov, and on the 24th of October, the NSAC voted to approve a motion to release half of Nurmagomedov's $2 million fight payout immediately. Both Nurmagomedov and McGregor received indefinite bans, at least until the official hearing, which took place in December 2018. On the 29th of January 2019, the NSAC announced a 6-month suspension for McGregor, retroactive to the 6th of October 2018, and a $50,000 fine. He became eligible to compete again on the 6th of April 2019. Dublin sexual assault allegations. In March 2019, the New York Times reported that McGregor was under investigation by the Irish police, following allegations of a sexual assault on a woman in a Dublin hotel in December 2018. A second allegation of sexual assault was reported on in October 2019, regarding an assault on a woman in a car alleged to have taken place earlier that month. In January 2021, after prosecutors declined to prosecute McGregor for the 2018 alleged sexual assault, a civil claim for damages was launched in the High Court. A spokeswoman for McGregor said in a statement that the allegations against McGregor were categorically rejected, and that McGregor is confident that justice will prevail in the civil case. Florida robbery arrest. On the 11th of March 2019, McGregor was arrested outside of the Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami Beach, Florida, after an altercation in which McGregor was alleged to have taken a man's phone and smashed it on the ground. McGregor was arrested and charged with strong armed robbery and criminal mischief. McGregor was held in custody for several hours before being released on a $5,000 bond. On the 14th of March 2019, news surfaced that McGregor was also facing a civil lawsuit from the fan involved in the incident. On the 8th of April, the civil lawsuit against McGregor was dropped by the fan. On the 13th of May, it was revealed that the criminal charges against McGregor had also been dropped after the accuser's attorney said that his client had been made whole by McGregor following an out-of-court settlement. The accuser stated that he no longer felt that McGregor wished to harm him or the phone, and the state attorney stated the accuser has credibility issues as he's changed his previously sworn testimony. Dublin pub assault. On the 15th of August 2019, TMZ Sports published a video that showed McGregor punching an older man at the Marble Arch pub in Dublin. The incident happened on the 6th of April and was originally reported by Irish media, although without the video that showed the attack. Irish police stated that they had opened an investigation. McGregor was charged with assault and first appeared in court on the 11th of October 2019. The court heard that McGregor had 18 prior convictions from 2018 going back to 2009. The majority were for driving offenses, but he was given the Probation Act in 2009 when he was an apprentice plumber for an assault causing harm offense. McGregor had repeatedly offered the victim a shot of his whiskey, which the victim repeatedly declined. Then McGregor had punched him. On the 1st of November, McGregor pleaded guilty to the assault and was fined €1,000, Corsica arrest. On the 10th of September 2020, McGregor was arrested in Corsica on suspicion of attempted sexual assault and indecent exposure for an incident alleged to have taken place in a bar. After being held in custody for 2 days while being interviewed by police, he was released without charge. 8 months later, French authorities dropped the investigation due to insufficient evidence. Good Fight Foundation incident. Prior to UFC 257, McGregor had promised he would donate $500,000 to his opponent Dustin Poirier's charity foundation, the Good Fight Foundation. After their third bout was targeted, Poirier claimed McGregor and his team had stopped responding to the foundation's emails regarding the donation. McGregor responded that he was awaiting details as to where the money to the foundation would be spent, which he claimed Poirier and his team had not made clear. Weeks later, it was revealed McGregor had made a $500,000 donation to a different charity foundation, the Boys and Girls Club of Acadiana in Lafayette, Louisiana, where Poirier was born and raised. This audio uses material from the Wikipedia article Conor McGregor n.wikipedia.org/wiki/Conor_McGregor, which is released under the license Creative Commons. Attribution Share Alike 3.0 Unported. CC by SA 3.0 creativecommons.org/licenses/by SA/3.0